tied their hands behind their back, and they took on the Iraqis. The Iraqis had overwhelming air superiority. You can posit a lot of different scenarios. One is where the Soviet Union remains intact, and it makes a comeback economically, and because military power was largely based on economic might, it goes back to being a superpower. That's scenario one. Scenario two is the Soviet Union remains intact, but it shrinks quite significantly in terms of its economic/military strength, and it goes from being a superpower to being just another great power on the continent, basically a rival of Germany. Then the third scenario that you can posit is one where the Soviet Union breaks up and becomes a series of remnant states. You have an independent Ukraine, you have an independent Russia, an independent Russian Republic, and that's a very different situation. Good question. But there are two issues here. Number one, is it desirable? Number two, is it achievable? Now, there are many people who would say that it's not desirable. And it's not desirable because you can never be sure who will be in control of that United Nations. And many people in this country don't like it. They think the United Nations is too sympathetic to the third world, too sympathetic to Arabs, too sympathetic to the government. They don't like the United Nations. Okay? So what happens if you run into a situation where the people who are controlling the shots in the United Nations have values, have ideas that are sympathetic? I don't like the world we live in, and I may be incorrect. What I'm doing here is describing to you the way I think the world works, not the way I wish the world would work. I wish the world were different. I just think it's a nasty and brutish world because of all these structural arguments that I laid out. But
What you can do to change it, to make it more the way you want it to be.
We're going to be here on the 28th of March. And I also like to mention that anybody who would like to can't pay their co-fees at this time.
We saw something I've never seen before, a phalanx of men on horseback and on camels, and they charged through from the pro-regime side directly into.
The first marchers began arriving near the Capitol building before dawn. There were women and men of all ages from all over the country, a mix of ethnic, religious, and class backgrounds. Among the many first-time demonstrators was Janet Chen, who brought her 8-year-old daughter, Molly. They're worried about the Republican rollback of the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. Anjum Khan from Maryland says she's concerned about Muslim rights and Trump's promise to ban Muslims from entering the country.
When he said he's going to eradicate Islamic terrorism, that's wonderful. Like, yes, please do that. But in doing that, don't trample on my rights.
Rohima Maya has marched on Washington before for civil rights and was among the protesters at the inauguration yesterday.
As a black woman with a 30-year-old black son that lives in New York City, it should be an issue for all people that our children are safe.
Women matter. And we will not be shy about standing up to what matters to us.
We went through 3 horrific wars in the space of 6 years. At the end of the third one, I said, no more. We each have to do whatever we can to stop the next war. And it's possible. We must reach a diplomatic.
זה דבר מאוד מרגש, זה מאוד באמת, אין לי מה לדבר מרוב שאני באמת מתרגשת בנו ורוצים שכולם ישמעו אותנו, שאנחנו רוצים הסכם מדיני ולשלב את האנשים, כי האנשים הם יכולות לעשות את השלום הזה.
Why do businesses exist? To earn profit or to serve a purpose? For shareholders or for society, customers, employees, and the environment? Well, the conventional view is exclusively to earn profit. And that's not as narrow-minded as it sounds, because to earn profit, a company is forced to care about society. It has to make high-quality products, or customers will stop buying. It has to treat its workers well, or they'll leave. And it can't pollute the environment, or its brand will be hurt. Indeed, leading economist Milton Friedman once famously wrote, "The social responsibility of business is to increase profit. So just head to the land of profit, and you'll get all of these other decisions right." But this theory assumes that you can calculate the effect that ethical behavior has on your profits. In practice, you can't reduce every decision to a mathematical calculation.
Just days after North and South Korea held their first face-to-face talks in 2 years, the U.S. Air Force is deploying stealth bombers to the Pacific. It comes at a time when the Pentagon is conducting a review of its nuclear forces, expected to be released early next month. National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin fills us in from the Pentagon.
In a show of force, the Pentagon deployed 3 nuclear-capable B-2 stealth bombers along with 200 airmen to Guam overnight, closer to the Korean peninsula. Defense officials said the deployment had been scheduled for months.
I think when we move bombers across the globe, we send a signal to everyone.
The B-2 is just one component of the nuclear triad slated for upgrade. The U.S. nuclear arsenal has not been modernized in decades. Its missiles date back to the 1970s. This week, details of the Pentagon's long-awaited nuclear posture review leaked to the public and revealed the Trump administration wants more flexibility to respond with nuclear weapons to an attack. The U.S. wants to...
Social media and digital technology is right now changing how MPs are operating, how government is operating.
We need to think about what sort of language we use and whether companies such as Facebook and Twitter need to take responsibility for that.
We're here with Demos to talk with representatives, with party activists and with people who understand technology and society about how it's affecting politics and how we can make it work well.
In terms of offline politics, we've seen rules develop over tens, if not hundreds of years, which are kind of go out the window when it comes to the online world. And I'm not surprised that a lot of politicians and activists and commentators find these new rules challenging and difficult to deal with.
People take to Twitter and other forms of social media to express low levels of complaint and concern. So it's a great way of finding out what they are.
There's never been an easier time to get in touch with your MP, but that can have its downsides for the MP. They ultimately are still an individual struggling with a job, trying to keep on top of everything, and people expect a response instantly.
We had a lot in the discussion we just had, you know, from the real concerns around abuse.
We now have campaigns that can swamp MPs on social media very quickly, but we can also get short but really meaningful interactions between people in trouble and their representative who can help them.
I think we've seen enough over the last 12 months to convince anyone of the power that social media can have.
The main challenge with digital politics is the clash of millions of people who are online on social media for the first time. They've only recently got smartphones in the last few years, and their expectations and their idea of how politics should be is way out of line with the traditional structures and what most MPs expect and how they expect to communicate with constituents, and those two are quite hard to reconcile.
Report out this week regarding Americans struggling to pay back student loans. More than 40% of borrowers aren't making payments, raising fears they may never repay the more than $200 billion owed.
What we're going to talk about tonight is Bosnia, and what I really want to focus on are two things. One is the causes of the war in Bosnia, and two, the prospects for success of the Dayton Agreement of last December 1995, which served as the foundation for the decision to send American troops to Bosnia. Has any implications for the American case, which I don't think it does. Anyway, we can talk about that. These people identify themselves from one another in very clear and stark ways for the most part. They go what they are, but it's mainly in their heads, right? You know, Mike Creswell, black on white. You know, he and I, you can pick out when you line this up. You can't pick these folks out, right? They all look alike. Right? There are Muslims down here in a country called Albania and in an area of Serbia known as Kosovo, right? Those Albanians look a lot different than the Serbs do. You have to kick them out, the A's and the B's. You can't do that here. Everybody kind of looks alike. And what ethnic cleansing is really all about is getting all the A's over here, the B's over here, and the C's over there. Because they're kind of mixed up to begin with. So the Serbians and the Croats who live inside Bosnia don't want to live in a state that's run by the Muslims. So what happens in April of 1992, after Bosnia declares its independence, is war breaks out. And the war that breaks out is mainly between the Serbians and the Bosnian Muslims. And the end result is that the Serbians basically clean out, ethnic cleansing, all of eastern Bosnia. Places like Srebrenica, Zepa, they're all out here. Okay. What also happens, starting in the spring of 1993, is that the Muslims go to war against the Croats. The United States, 1994, said we got to shut this war down. A plan that has two elements. One is we forced the Muslims and the Croats to jump into bed. We made it put tremendous pressure on the Croatians to jump in bed. And then we agreed we're going to divide the place 51-49. This is the basic framework that was implemented today. I can't sort of give you the portrait, the accurate portrait of what happened. I don't know. It may be that we so thoroughly despised the Iranians that we stopped their weapons from coming in, but let Pakistani weapons instead come. It's very hard to tell from outside. Let's talk about why the war started and what this war is really all about. This is a war about nationalism. It's the most powerful political ideology on the face of the earth today. This is a war that started by individual groups, like the Muslims and the Croats, Serbs, believe in nationalism. Now, the question is, what exactly is nationalism? Nationalism is an ideology that is a two-part definition. It says, first of all, the world can be divided into nations or ethnic groups or tribes called the world. And secondly is the belief that each one of those, in the second part of the definition, this importance, is the belief that each one of those nations should have its own state. The problem with you is that you have intermingled populations. And when you have intermingled populations, the question is, who becomes the head of a particular state? Part of that empire wanted their own state. The Hungarians wanted their own state. The Austrians wanted their own state. The Czechs wanted their own state. The Slovaks wanted their own state. The Croats, who were part of that empire, want their own state. And they're just getting around to it now. The others got their own state a long time ago. It has been the Europeans who have been saying, let's just partition the place. Right? Ethnic cleansing has separated out the body populaces of these different groups. And such ways that partition is becoming more likely. Let's do it. They don't want to live together, so be it. It's not the way we do business in America, but if self-determination means you're going to have 3 separate entities here, so be it. Americans have fought against that. Hook, line, and sinker. Final puzzle at this whole thing. Why is it that the United States, I have no answer to this, why is it that the United States, which allowed the Soviet Union to go down the totem pole, a multicultural state, with a rich history that they've had since at least 1970, why is it that the United States, which allowed Czechoslovakia to go down the totem pole, another multicultural state, refuses to allow Bosnia, a state that really never existed until April 1992, come apart? I don't understand why we have such a deep-seated interest in trying to keep this state together.